Hello. The topic of my discussion will be facts about Chuck Norris. Casual Fridays were created so that businessmen had at least one day of relief that they wouldn't be strangled with their own ties. The Ring of Fire is actually Chuck Norris' pinky ring. The United States could have saved billions in defense fund if they traded their military for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris was once part of knock-knock joke. The joke ended abruptly when, after the first knock, the door blew up, killing the man behind it. Chuck Norris doesn't jump the earth, he's simply repelled by his legs. In Modern Warfare 2, Chuck Norris doesn't need to get 25 kills straight to get the nuke. He already has the nuke as equipment. The United States never dropped the atomic weapons on Japan. Chuck Norris has jumped off the airplane and roundhouse kicked every building. Chuck Norris only invented Christmas so he can find a way to get guns without anyone getting suspicious. When Chuck Norris plays chess, the pieces come to life and kill the opponent. Steel wool was invented when Chuck Norris shaved. Napoleon Bonaparte died not because of stomach cancer, but because he called Chuck Norris gay. Chuck Norris originally wrote the first dictionary. The definition for each word is as follows: a swift roundhouse to the face. Superman can fly, but Chuck Norris can force him to land with a roundhouse kick. Chuck Norris hates both the player and the game. Chuck Norris found the end of Rainbow. The leprechaun said that he couldn't have the goal. Then he roundhouse kicked him in the face. Chuck Norris rejects your reality and substitutes it with his fact. Life once handed Chuck Norris lemons. Instead of making lemonade, he roundhouse kicked life in the face of Hiroshima, Japan on August 6, 1945. Chuck Norris once gave a man an apple. Today, that man is known as Steve Jobs. Chuck Norris doesn't make mashed potatoes. The potatoes get so scared they kill themselves. Chuck Norris' heart beats 1,600 times a minute. It's the busiest predator in the world and needs to eat 3 times his own body weight in one day to survive. Chuck Norris's jogging trail is now known as Tornado Alley. Chuck Norris once took care of 4 baby turtles. They later become known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Chuck Norris can finish Mario Bros. Without using the jump button. Chuck Norris can simply walk into murder. The Pope was elected by cardinals who survived a roundhouse kick in face. Once while one of them survives. The house in Market crashed because Chuck Norris thought he was paying too much property tax. When Chuck Norris visited Greece with a light bulb, people thought he was Zeus. With theory of the relative, it's relative only to know Chuck Norris interprets it. Human blood type is usually 0 plus, A plus, or AB. Chuck Norris blood type is AK-47. Only Chuck Norris knows a bigger number than infinity, and it's not infinity plus 1. It takes Chuck Norris 20 minutes to watch 60 minutes. Hell waits for Chuck Norris to freeze over. Chuck Norris can drown a fish. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. Never bring fist to a knife fight. Even if you are Chuck Norris, it puts you at too much of advantage. At poker, Chuck Norris can beat your royal straight flush, has just ace and king and a roundhouse kick. Chuck Norris walks by pretty girls. The girl go dame. The saying fear no fear except of fear itself, another way of saying you better be afraid of Chuck Norris. Anger goes to Chuck Norris management. Chuck Norris can slam dunk a basketball without jumping. Chuck Norris has MySpace account on Facebook. Who let the dogs out? Chuck Norris let the dogs out. Then the roundhouse kicks them through the Oldsmobile. Chuck Norris is the only man who can legally sell the Brooklyn Bridge to unsuspecting tourists. Chuck Norris doesn't have a heart. He has V8. Those aren't credits that roll after Walker or Texas Ranger. It actually lists of fatalities that occurred during the making of the episode. President Roosevelt once rode his horse 100 miles. Chuck Norris carried out his the same distance in half of time. To win the U.S. Open, Roger Federer sold his soul to Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris played the game and won. All roads led to Rome, and then they started with Chuck Norris. When Chuck Norris joined U.S. Air Force, he was the only who was allowed to keep his full head of hair, mustache, and awesome beard. In the average living room, there are 1,024 objects, all of which Chuck Norris can kill you, including the room itself. If Chuck Norris dies, so do we. Chuck Norris can juggle a bowling ball with his feet, hanging upside down from a tree. Chuck Norris can win a game of minesweeper in one term. Chuck Norris abducts alien. Who would win in a fight between a bear and a lion? Answer: neither. Chuck Norris would beat them both in a single roundhouse kick. Chuck Norris, the new standard. In the weakest link, everyone voted Chuck Norris as he was too good, but since he was the only competitor remaining, the show lasted 5 minutes. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. Never try to come to Chuck Norris fight. Chuck's favorite James Bond movie is Live and Let Die. Chuck Norris once said a kitten dangling trees, then ate it. Chuck Norris can jungle with nothing. Chuck Norris knew all facts about himself. Mortal Kombat tried to include Chuck Norris in their game, but the game would be too easy. For undercover police work, Chuck Norris pinned his badge underneath his shirt directly into his chest. People trying to change history. History tries to change Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can make Sudoku puzzles with fractions and decimals. Chuck Norris can start a fire by wrapping 2 ice cubes together. Instant death comes to those who do not properly capitalize name Chuck. Chuck Norris doesn't work out on Total Gym. Total Gym works out on Chuck Norris. There is no such thing as tornado. Chuck Norris just really hates Trailer Park. Chuck Norris beat Van Halen in a guitar duel with an air guitar. Chuck Norris can put an 18-hole golf course in one strike. God created Adam Eve, but quickly created Chuck Norris after realizing that Adam Reese wasn't manly enough. The AIDS virus has tested Chuck Norris positive. Chuck Norris once got hit by a combat knife. This knife is known as the butter knife. Chuck Norris can get breakfast at McDonald's after 11 at Taco Bell. Chuck Norris once best nasty cook arrived for entry without spacesuit. On July 19th, 1999, Chuck Norris ran the Earth's atmosphere, striking over 14 states and reaching temperatures 3,000 degrees. And embraced NASA publicly claimed it was a matter and still owes him a beer. Goodbye.